I'm Scott Coolidge for Cool Pictures News. On April the 4th, 2017, here at City Hall, City Council members have voted to keep the Dionne Quints Home here in North Bay and move it down to the waterfront. I had the opportunity to speak with some of the Friends of the Dionne Quints Home Museum members and see how they felt about the decision. With me is the chair of the Friends of the Dionne Quints Home Museum, Jeff Fournier. Thanks for being with us here today, Jeff.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate your ongoing support.
No problem. I was wondering, how do you feel about what the decision that the City Council has made?
I feel really good. I mean, we're definitely in the right direction. One of our main goals was always to keep the home and the artifacts intact and in North Bay, so we've achieved that. We realize there's still some work to be done, but that's a big one. It will stay here, and we're very pleased. I'm very pleased, and my group of the friends are very pleased too.
Chris Main was asking if they did decide to do this just before the vote today. Chris was asking, will the Friends of the Dionne Quints Home Museum just kind of dissolve and leave the city high and dry? And you said no, but you did say that the Friends of the Dionne Quints Home Museum would dissolve. If you could explain that to the audience, that'd be great.
Well, our mandate has always been to save the home, to keep it here in North Bay along with its artifacts, and for the city to maintain ownership. So our mandate, as the Friends, has not been to operate the home. So by dissolving it and then creating a new operating committee, we can actually put together a committee that's more reflective of the community as well, which is what we're interested in doing. So we can actually include in this operating committee a member or members of council and a member or members of some other community group. So we're envisioning an operating group that would be 10 to 12 members, and 5 to 6 members would be of the former Friends of the Dionne Quintuplets Museum. So it's just so that we can now incorporate under that new operating group. We can incorporate and become attain charitable status, and much easier for fundraising and also for obtaining government grants. And it's always been our goal to work with the city, not against them. Work with them. And so this is a way of connecting the group with the city and with other community groups. That helps in actually obtaining funding from different government, the provincial and federal governments, when you have community groups that are aligned and working in cooperation. It's a very good, a much better chance of getting funding when you do that.
So you feel that this is a cooperation, that they are working with you?
I believe so, yeah. So Chris Main, the chair of the subcommittee, along with Derek Sjogren and George Marousas, I think that that kind of started the ball rolling as far as cooperation with the city goes. And I didn't say tonight, but I do have to point out our new CAO, Keith Robichaud, for his leadership, and I think he very much led the way in some of the funding for the move of the home, and kind of opening that up and letting the councillors know that this was a definite possibility, that we could do that. We could access some of the funds from the sale of the property where the Dionne home now sits. So thanks to him for that.
So this is definitely a win for you. And as a win, is there anybody in the community you think, if there's always more that we're going to need to do in order for you guys to get this going? It's not just this is the last straw. Is there any support you need from the community in order to get this rolling?
Absolutely. Going forward, the first thing on my mind is we do need volunteers once the home does open. That won't come for a bit, but for the time being, we could use some help in certain areas. For fundraising, we could use help for fundraising going forward. We absolutely could use help in marketing and promotion and that type of thing. So anybody that has any kind of experience in that area, we have some pretty good experience in our group already. and myself and another fellow has come forward. Actually, Miles Peters, who's not actually a part of our friends group, but he's come forward to say he'd be interested in volunteering and becoming a director on the new board for marketing and promotion. So we're looking for that. Of course, we always need administrative support. We have administrative support in Shirley Scalisi, who's with the Friends Group now. But I mean, that's the kind of thing, the more hands you have, the easier it is to do. So those are things that come to mind. I mean, and then obviously eventually things like landscaping and doing tours at the home and that type of thing that'll come later.
Is there anything you'd like to add for this wonderful thing that's happened today?
Mm-hmm. Well, just want to thank everybody who's supported us in our fight, and there's a lot of people. This does not happen because of one person. It's a team effort and a community effort. So thanks to the community for supporting us in our fundraiser at the Davidi on March 17th. Thanks to the Davidi. Thanks to the businesses who donated items for that, and thanks to everybody who's done the letter writing campaign and who's made some really nice comments on our Facebook page and who've shared their views on Facebook, and we have thousands of likes and thousands of comments over the last 6 months. And thanks to the media who's supported us as well to get the word out to the people on the street.
Media like cool pictures.
Media like cool pictures, absolutely.
That was Jeff Fournier. Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Jeff Fournier is the chair of the Friends of the Dionne Quints Home Museum, and we're here at City Hall, where City Council has decided to keep the Dionne Quints Home here in North Bay. Standing with me now is Joshua Pride. He's the vice chair of the Friends of the Dionne Quints Home Museum. And City Council has decided to keep the Dionne Quints Home here in North Bay. How do you feel about that, Josh?
Yes, they have. I'm fairly ecstatic, despite my tired demeanor. I'm ecstatic that they have voted to keep the home in North Bay, although I'm not naive enough to forget that now is when some of the bulk of the real work, you could say, to operate the museum will now start. All the tremendous work to save the home has truly paid off, and now it's time to establish an operating board and to create a museum. Now, I've been to museums all over the country and all over Western Europe, and I've had the opportunity to see a lot of the backstage, if using the theater terminology, even here at Discovery North Bay, the backstage of what goes into creating a museum, and it is a daunting task, but it's not a task that I don't think that we can do. I'm fairly certain that the new operating board, when it is formed, will be able to develop a concrete plan and mandate to create a functioning and relevant museum, because the age of the static museum, like the static display of object and write-up, is dying quickly. And so we need to find a way to make the home relevant by offering visitors a truly eyes-on, ears-on, hands-on experience. And that's where the real challenge is going to come. So there's still a lot of work yet to come, but it's a challenge that we're very happy and honored to take.
What we've heard is that the Friends of the Dionne Quints Home Museum are going to dissolve, and they're going to start another committee. Did you want to touch on that?
Well, sure. The Friends of the Dionne Quintuplets Home Museum was formed a few months ago in order, with a mandate rather, to rally the city and to keep the home and its artifacts intact and in North Bay. So that was the mandate of the Friends group, was to make sure that the home stayed here and all of its artifacts were intact so that there could be a future for a potential museum. So now that that goal has been achieved, what we'll need to look forward to doing is creating a museum operating board. Now, this is the board that oversees the finances and the running of an actual museum, and also exhibits. What exhibits will stay permanent, traveling exhibits, temporary exhibits as well, and basically what the layout of the museum is going to be. And that's going to take a lot of work. So that will be the job of the operating committee. The Friends, as far as I'm concerned, as far as a lot of us are concerned, have fulfilled their mandate to stand up for heritage and to keep the home safe and intact in the city of North Bay. So now the future is going to be on the back of the operating board.
But there's still a lot of work that your committee, the new committee that you're going to form, has to do, correct?
Oh, for sure. Like the creating a museum operating board is no easy task. It's you have to consider what artifacts you'll have on permanent display, how they will be displayed. If you're going to have interactive exhibits, how are you going to make them? Who are you going to hire to make them? What can you do yourself? What are you allowed to do yourself? And also, like, how are you going to set up an inter-museum loaning system? So there's still a lot of logistics behind creating the actual operating board itself. I've been put forth as a proposed vice chair for the new operating board, and I'm confident that with the support that we've been able to get from the community and from certain individuals who have stepped forward, like Ed Valenti, and continuing support from members like Shirley Scalise and Jeff Fournier, we'll be able to move forward amicably with the city to create a functional and relevant museum. I'm very happy with what happened tonight. Moving forward, I don't want to rain on the parade, but moving forward, there's a lot of work to do. So once the celebrations have calmed down, we have to really get to brass tacks over creating this operating board.
Cool. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
That's Joshua Pride. He was the vice chair of the Friends of the Dionne Quints Home Museum. I'm standing here with Joey Nadeau. He's the advisor of the Friends of the Dionne Quints Home Museum. And City Council has decided to keep the Dionne Quints Home here in North Bay. How do you feel about that, Joey?
Well, I think it's a great decision on their part. There is some councillors that were not in support of the motion to keep the home here. Unfortunately for them, I feel that they may have given themselves a bit of a bad name on that prospect, but otherwise, I think it was a great decision.
And so you're excited about this decision, then, I'm assuming?
Yes, I think it was a great decision on their part, and let's hope we can keep on working together with them.
Cool. That was Joey Nadeau. He's the advisor of the Friends of the Dionne Quints Home Museum here in North Bay.